Hello, this is Dread, and in today's video topic, we're going to be going over support Werebear and support Paladin today. So I leveled a support Paladin to level about 49, then I leveled a support Werebear all the way to like level 75 and got it to empowered monoliths. And let me tell you, support builds in Last Epoch are in fact a thing. Turns out when you give your allies 55 flat adaptive spell damage and 8% base crit, it really makes them hit like a truck. Who would have thought, right? Also, as well, with the support paladin, when you give them like 600% increased damage and like 35 flat fire, it makes them also hit like a truck. And all of these buffs, it definitely makes up for the increased health that you add upon when you join a party. It definitely makes up for it. We were absolutely blasting the entire way from level 1 all the way to empowered monoliths with the werebear, mainly because the summon Spriggan's healing made it so we were like essentially immune to damage. And then of course we had full crit avoid. We also had entangling roots, rooting things. We had the pole, the taunt. I feel tanky as heck. I'm nowhere near res capped at all, and I'm still just tanking everything like it's nothing. It has been an absolutely amazing experience. Now, Last Epoch multiplayer as a whole, the leveling, it was okay. The loading zones are brutal right now while leveling, right? Going from zone to zone. It was very, very painful. But other than that, it has been a very smooth experience. Very little crashes, very little problems for my like 14 plus hours of gameplay. In Monoliths, though, that is where the co-op started to shine. In Monoliths, it is so smooth. It is amazing. I want to use like expletive words, but I can't because, YouTube. It is amazing. I love the monolith system, the way that they have it implemented, where like you load up the zone beforehand, then you go in, then you leave. It's like so smooth. It's so great. You get the rewards, you leave, then you load up the next zone. The party member chooses, you get to like choose random rewards. All of it, they did such a wonderful job. So, for reference, in other ARPGs, I've never played co-op because I've never really enjoyed the playstyle. Like Path of Exile, for instance, I don't really enjoy Path of Exile co-op. I like playing alone. But Last Epoch is the first ARPG I've ever played that I actually want to play with friends. It's great. It's wonderful because it's so smooth. I get to actually be a support build that actually gives a lot to the table for friends, because not only am I giving a butt ton of healing, I'm also giving a butt ton of damage. When I was leveling support paladin specifically, it felt overpowered as heck, putting down that javelin, getting all that healing per second, while also giving my ally like 400% increased damage in the campaign. It felt amazing because he was playing static orb and he was just deleting everything. Even with the increased health, it just felt so wonderful. And I'm just aghast at how smooth the actual experience was. Now, there were bugs, there were problems, just like they said. Um, if you try to split up and do multiple objectives at once, uh, if you load in too many enemies, it will crash the instance. You can crash the instance currently. It is really funny. We did it a few times and it made us have to do Architect Leath a few times in a row. But that was solved by us just sticking together and killing things as we go and not being cheeky and going and doing extra objectives. Obviously, that will be fixed on launch. That won't be a problem. I'm sure that will be fixed. Another problem, the trade system. It's smooth. The UI is good to use. You can gift items. So essentially, if you're in the same party at the same time and moment and like in the same area, right? That item that drops, you can trade with the person forever, right? If you leave it in your inventory, leave it in your stash for like a month, come back, you could still trade it to that person, it seems. And you can also craft on that item. You can't put LP stuff on it. You can't like do anything like that, but you can craft on the item. Like for instance, to give my friend +1 to summon bear, I took a white helmet, crafted +1 to summon bear, and then gifted it to him, an item that dropped. And that was absolutely wonderful. That's a fun system. Now, of course, there are problems with the system, mainly because like, I dropped good stuff for my other, other carry, but he wasn't on at the time, so of course, sucks to suck. That's a little annoying. Some of the new uniques though are like bananas. Like some of the new uniques are absolute bananas. Like the meteor one, the cast on crit meteor one. I can't wait to play with that one. But yeah, let's go in game and I can talk more about the support Werebear build a bit more, shall we? All right, here we are in game with the build. This is the support Werebear. It has been fun. I can say that much. So I leveled 2 characters, like I said. I leveled a support paladin and I leveled a support Werebear. This is going to be the support Werebear video. I'm going to keep playing this build and refine it more, but the overall concept where you can just get started and then refine it has been finished. The idea has been finished. So we're going to have oh yeah, we can't summon Spriggan here. Oh, what the heck is that? Okay, we're gonna pretend that. So support Werebear has been amazing. Okay, specifically the buffs that Spriggan gives. Spriggan, when you summon it, it gives you a bunch of healing, like with a healing aura, and it scales with attunement. So as we scale attunement, it also gets tanky and more healing effectiveness, which then of course gives even more aura healing, and then that just keeps us alive. We also, of course, have Aura of Evasion, meaning that per attunement, we're also getting flat dodge, which then we can scale on gear. Right now, I'm only at 813 dodge, but that's because I have a Smoke Weaver and a Close Call. But when I have the Spriggan up, right, I'm at like 40% dodge already, and I'm not even done yet because we're nowhere near a attunement cap. So that's great. That's a good combo. Like Summon Spriggan's been great because of that. And for allies, I've been giving like a 15 flat modifier while also giving them a bunch of base crit and crit avoidance. This made us so tanky during the campaign. It's crazy. Like I barely died. Like the only time I died, I think, was like a few times during the campaign and maybe sometimes in Monolith if it lagged. Poison too. Poison is cracked right now. Enemy poison is absolutely cracked right now. Because of all the reworks and all the changes, enemy poison is cracked. Like Zarek's poison pool, stuff like that. That will kill you. That will 100% kill you. It is disgusting. Okay, remember that. Yeah, this 8% base crit's amazing because then my allies don't have to run a catalyst. They don't have to run anything like that. Then, of course, we are on Warcry. Warcry has been an absolute dream to play in multiplayer because what we do is we grab Apprehend, so we're pulling instead of knocking back, and we're grabbing all the knockback distance so that we're pulling them into us into like a circle, and then my Abyssal Echo Devouring Orb character, Perry, he was moving over the enemies and mowing them like a lawnmower, and it felt amazing to do so. We also, of course, have Taunt, so things attack us instead of our allies because we're insanely tanky. I have 60% dodge, I have insane healing, I have insane regen. I want them to hit me, not my allies, right? First, we're giving another 100% base, 100% crit on top of everything else. We're giving a bunch of healing to our allies as well every single time. So if they need an emergency heal, we're doing it every few seconds, right? Just everything about this has been amazing, right? There is a bug with the UI with the skills. It's like a little annoying, but it's whatever. And then, of course, Entangling Root, the last part of the puzzle, right? We're getting an absolute insane amount of flat damage to our allies. This 40 flat, it may not seem like much, but when your allies start with 100 flat on like a staff or something like that, this is like Fantissimo. It is amazing just how much damage this actually gives you. It's ridiculous. My friend, one of my friends was playing a a summon bear that shoots out the thorns, and this 40 flat is ridiculous, right? It's absolutely ridiculous. And then if I swap to bush stalkers, it's even more ridiculous. Too bad it says your, otherwise like that would be insane if I give it to his bear too. And the root as well, making it so melee enemies just don't exist anymore. They're not even a problem unless if they're like a big golem or something. The only thing that even like shows as a threat to us anymore is like range enemies, right? Like range enemies. We're like level like what is it? 76 already in powered monoliths. Like we've been speeding and it's great. I think we're like the second team to monoliths to empowered monos. I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to check. Yeah. Then of course we have swipe. Swipe is a bunch of free health regen thanks to this node. This is going to be insanely strong when we get a Vessel of Strife. We're going to have an insane amount of regen. And of course, the 14% coal, it's very useful for your teammates. It's great. Who would have thought, right? It's amazing being able to coal for 14%. It feels great while like doing bosses and stuff like that. And overall, it's just been a very enjoyable experience. We ended up essentially killing Herat in Age of Winter before he phased for the first time with the coal and with the summon bear. The summon bear is pretty ridiculous. But for gearing, I mainly went for a Call of the Tundra for the health regen and for the plus to Warcries, because Warcry has a lot of goodies inside of its tree. If you're playing a build that does cold damage, or your ally is, you can give them a bunch of increased damage. So that's where you want to put all your increased levels in if you're supporting a character like that. You want like the area, you want the pull distance, you just want everything for like Warcry. So like getting these extra levels is insane. And of course the health regen, and eventually we can get a LP one with health regen on it, and that will fuel our eventual Vessel of Strife and make us really, really tanky. Because right now I only have 1500 life, but then once I get a Vessel of Strife, I'll at least have 1000 ward on top of this. Of course, I Rune of Ascendance into a Smoke Weaver because I wanted to get all that flat dodge. This flat dodge on top of the Spriggan's flat dodge will lead us to at least having around like 60% dodge in the end game, meaning that when we taunt things and they try to hit us, they don't actually hit us. They'll hit us like 40% of the time, meaning that we can just essentially tank everything, which is great. I'm running a close call right now. This is a good option for early on. But eventually you want to swap into something else like a shield. I was going to use the axe that revives your companion when they're down, but my summon Spriggan has been alive this entire time. It has not died once. My summon Spriggan is tanky as heck. You give it healing, you give it like taunt when you're in a party and it's not being targeted. It is like so tanky. It's surprising because before it was really squishy. So it's like now it's tanky. It's like I'm confused. I don't know. But right now we're running like a Siphon of Anguish because it's all I have right now. I'm playing Doom for my party. Just health regen. As you can tell, my gear is absolute garbage, and we're already in empowered mono. So that tells you how powerful Werebear support really is. The fact I've been able to run around with this crud gear this entire time, with like some of my stuff not unlocked, like all of that combined, and we're still doing fine. Like it's been amazing. So with all that being said, this has been Dread. I'll have to go work on Werebear support and Paladin support some more. Bye.